Hey guys, what's going on? It's your man Boris, and welcome to another episode of the TBScouts podcast. Today, we're going to talk about a couple of things. We know we are in the heat of basketball playoff season. So we'll talk about what went down from round 2 of playoffs just this past week, and then we'll talk a little bit about what we have to look forward to this week in high school basketball. So last week on last Friday, Boerne Champion played against Jefferson in round 2 of the UIL 5A area playoffs, and Champion was able to walk away with the victory on that. That was a good game. Final score of that game was 68 to 40, or I'm sorry, 68 to 47. So Champion got a good 21 point win there. But it was a good game. You know, I know that both teams had a lot of support going into it, but it looked like I was there, obviously, for that game in the first half. Jefferson put up a pretty good fight, but I think at the end of the day, Champion was just too strong of a team. And ran away with the win there towards the end. But it was a good game, and congratulations to both teams for making it this far, and shout out to Jefferson for making it as far as they did. So next we are going to have and actually let me go ahead and pull up some of the stat sheet for that last game. I should have already had that pulled up, but my bad. All right, finally got it pulled up. I probably should have had that pulled up before I even started, but oh well. Okay, so looking at the stats from Boerne Champion versus Jefferson, they played on the 25th. Top 3 scorers on Champion was Braden Baum, Jesse Pert, and Braxton Burdick. So just kind of going through the point breakdown, the number 1 leading scorer was Braden Baum, which this is no surprise. Braden has been playing extremely well this season. He's only a 2023, so he still has a whole another year left. And he's kind of one of the, like a stretch wing for Champion. He's about 6'6", kind of long, lengthy type of player that can shoot the ball as well. So Braden had 20 points. He was 8 for 14 from the field overall. He was 2 for 7 on his 2-point field goals and 3 for 7 on his 3-point field goals. It doesn't look like he took any free throws. Braden had 8 rebounds, and looks like that was about it. So for Braden, pretty good game. 20 points, 8 rebounds, and overall 8 for 14 from the field. So good job, Braden. The next leading scorer was Jesse Pert with 16 points. Jesse was 5 for 12 from the field. He was 3 for 6 on his 2-point field goals and 2 for 6 on 3-point field goals. Jesse did make it to the line quite a bit. He was 4 for 6 overall on his free throws. And Jesse had 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. So good job, Jesse. You know, Jesse is one of the leading players for Boerne Champion. Plays the point guard and shooting guard position, and really just holds the team together. I think when he needs to score, Jesse's a dominant player with his ability and size that he can usually get to the basket and score when he wants to. And I've heard other people say that we all know that Jesse is capable of 25 points a game. But just the nature of the team sharing the ball, Champion plays a lot of team basketball, which is working well for them. But good job, Jesse, for sharing the ball and being there for your team and just, being a consistent performer. Jesse did kind of spread the stat sheet. He had 16 points, but he also had 4 assists, so he's getting his other teammates involved. He had 2 steals as well. So on the defensive end, Jesse's always going after those loose balls and getting steals and deflections and things like that, so keep it up. The third leading scorer for Champion was Braxton Burdick. Braxton came in with 12 points this game. Braxton was 5 for 8 from the field overall. He was 4 for 6 on his 2-point field goals and 1 for 2 on 3-point field goals. Looks like he did make it to the line once, and he was 1 for 1 from the free throw line. And Braxton had 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and 12 points. So Braxton also did a good job kind of spreading his stats along the stat sheet with 12 points, 7 rebounds on the defensive end, and then 4 assists as well, getting his teammates involved. Looking at the stat line for Jefferson, and again, I'm not too familiar with Jefferson's team. There's only a couple of players that I've heard about, one being San Miguel. I actually ran into him at Champions Round 1 game. A lot of the Jefferson staff was out there scouting the talent, getting ready, which is good. You know, it's good when you go to these playoff games and you look around and you see coaches from all the different schools in the audience, because they're there to watch the game and see who their potential next round competition is going to be. But looking at Jefferson's stat line overall, or total, they had 47 points. The leading scorers for Jefferson High School was Joseph Rincon, San Miguel, and Josiah Alvarado. So the top leading scorer was Joseph Rincon with 15 points. Joseph was 6 for 16 overall from the field. He was 5 for 9 on 2-point field goals and 1 for 7 on 3-point field goals. He did make it to the line a couple of times. He was 2 for 2 on his free throws. He had 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Moving on to the next leading scorer was San Miguel with 14 points. Aaron was 6 for 13 overall from the field. He was 4 for 6 on his 2-point field goals and 2 for 7 on his 3-point field goals. Looks like overall Aaron had 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Again, Aaron did a good job kind of across all of the different stat lines, came in with 14 points. 3 rebounds, a little active on the defensive end, 5 assists, getting his teammates involved, and then 2 steals as well. And then the third leading scorer for Jefferson was Josiah Alvarado. He came in with 12 points. He was 5 for 7 overall from the field. He was 3 for 4 on his 2-point field goals and 2 for 3 on 3-point field goals. And he had 3 rebounds. So shout out to both teams there. Looking at kind of the points table for this game. Final score again was 68-47. And in the first quarter, it looks like Jefferson actually came out ahead. They outscored Champion 8-6 in that first quarter. So I think that was when we were watching it thinking, this was going to be, a pretty close game. But then in the second quarter, Champion outscored Jefferson 16-10, kind of spread the lead a little bit. And then in the third quarter, they got a big lead. Champion outscored Jefferson 25-14, just to kind of stretch that lead a little bit bigger. And then in the fourth quarter, Champion outscored Jefferson 21-15 with an overall score 68-47. So that was a good game. It was pretty cool to see Champion come to San Antonio to play some games. This game was played on Friday over at the Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. So that's cool. And I think it's interesting and cool to see Champion playing in San Antonio, just because I follow Champion so much and I travel with them so much that they have me driving out to Buda, driving out to Seguin, driving, even Boerne is kind of far. So it's good to have some local games. And we'll have another game here on Tuesday when Champion plays for round 3 of the playoffs. So speaking of, let's go ahead and talk about what's going to be going down on Tuesday, March 1st, which is going to be round 3 of the 2022 UIL Texas Boys State Basketball Championships for Region for Class 5A, Regions 3 and 4. Kind of took some notes here to make my job a little bit easier. So on Tuesday, Champion is going to be playing against Buda Johnson at 6:30 p.m. At the Littleton Gym, which is inside of the Blossom Athletic Center. Champion is going to be the home game. Buda Johnson is going to be the away game. For those of you that like to get to the stadium early, keep in mind, doors don't open until 6 o'clock. I saw that at around 2 when I went to go see Champion play against Jefferson over at the Paul Taylor Fieldhouse. People got there way early, and they formed a line outside because they didn't open the doors until like 30 minutes before tip-off. So that's cool. Just be aware. And if you want to see any of the brackets or any of the information, this is all available online at uiltexas.org. If you just Google the UIL brackets, you'll be able to find the UIL website and see the excellent brackets that they have available for download. And I'll probably post some pictures of the brackets or something like that to social media. But again, on Tuesday, March 21st at 6:30 p.m., Champion will play against Buda Johnson over at the Littleton Gym. Now, Champion has already played Buda Johnson a couple of times. The last time they played, which was on February the 8th, and Champion won 55-35. So they beat they beat Johnson by 20 points on February 8th. And then on January 7th, Champion played Buda Johnson and beat Johnson 60-47. So a little bit of a closer game the first time. But hopefully this is good news, for Champion. Again, I want to just stress to the players, even though you may have, beat a team a couple of times already, don't let that go to your head. Still play with intensity, still to stay focused, because as soon as you let your guards down, as soon as you start thinking that you're all this and you're much better than the team, that's when they're going to, come give you an upset. So to all my Champion players, keep your head screwed on tight and stay focused, because y'all still have work to do. So this the game on Tuesday is going to be for the regional quarterfinals. So we're winding down the high school basketball playoff season. We got games on Tuesday, and then the winner of Tuesday's game will play on either Friday or Saturday for the regional semifinals, and then we got, regional finals the week after that. So Champion is going to be playing against Buda Johnson. Now the winner of Boerne Champion versus Buda Johnson is going to play against the winner of Flower Bluff or McAllen. So Flower Bluff and McAllen are going to be playing on this week as well, on Tuesday, and the winner of that will play against the winner of Boerne Champion and Johnson, which I'm going to go ahead and say is going to be Champion. All right, and again, y'all can look at these brackets online at the UIL Texas website. One thing that I kind of want to reiterate is the importance of max preps and also huddle, for that matter. It amazes me still how in this day and age, you can still go to some schools' websites on max preps and huddle, and the information is not updated. The reason why I want to emphasize the max preps information is because I'm going directly to the UIL website, and it specifically says right here, the UIL and maxpreps.com have teamed up to make results, records, team information, and stats from the UIL sports available using MaxPreps' sports information system. That tells you that the UIL uses information from MaxPreps. So if you are a player, please take the initiative and make sure that your information on Max Preps is updated. Take 5 minutes, go to Max Preps, log in, claim your profile on Max Preps, and update that information. If you are a parent that volunteers to help the school out, make sure that your school updates their Max Preps information. And if you are if you are a high school coach, let me just put it like this. It's not a good reflection of the high school coach when you go to websites like Max Preps and Huddle, which are like the industry standards, and the information for that team is all out of whack. If the roster's not updated, the players' information and scores is not updated, like that's just a bad reflection on the high school coach. And I know that every school has a high school coach and an assistant coach. So there should be some time in the day for you guys to go in there and update your Max Preps profiles, rosters, and everything. And that really helps evaluators and people that study the game like me, that look at stats and upcoming games and player rosters. If you have that information updated on Max Preps, it helps everybody out. So again, not trying to sound mad or point the finger at everybody, because there are some schools that actually use these websites really good. Case in point, Boerne Champion. Boerne Champion utilizes these free websites and resources to the fullest extent. They've got updated team pictures, they've got updated player pictures, and their information is updated. So if you need an example, look at Boerne Champion. But anyways, that's enough for my rant about having your information updated on Max Preps and Huddle. So I guess I'll go ahead and wrap up today's episode. I think I covered everything that I wanted to with, playoff season wrapping up and coming to an end, and hopefully we'll see some teams, competing for state and winning some state championships. But just keep your head in the game. Also, with the school season winding down, we're going to go into some events and unsigned senior events and things like that. And one thing that I wanted to do that I think is really important is education and knowledge is key, and that's powerful. So as we're going into, the post-high school basketball season, make sure that you're going on websites like the NCAA's website and looking at things like recruiting calendars, because a lot of people, they hear the buzzword live periods and they think the live period is your only chance to be seen, for those couple of weeks in April. But it's not. Number one, your live period or your evaluation, or really it's like a contact period, because there's certain times of the year where college coaches can evaluate players or actually contact players for recruiting, and that's called a contact period. It's different for every level. It's different for NCAA D1, it's different for NCAA D2, it's different for NAIA, it's different for JUCO. But a lot of people don't know this, that the whole, starting on March 1st is contact period for Division II, NCAA Division II, which a lot of the players in San Antonio, a lot of them are D2 players. We don't have a whole bunch of D1 players that come out of San Antonio as a whole. I think we had the most players this year, which was 4 players in the whole city of San Antonio that went D1. But for everybody else that's D2, starting on March 1st is contact period. So you don't have to wait. You need to be playing in events that coaches are going to be at. You need to be reaching out to coaches, and you need to do your homework. When it comes to recruiting, you cannot rely on evaluators to get you looks. You cannot rely on tournament directors. I know a lot of people think that if they just go and play in some, big tournaments, that they're going to be seen by people. That's not how it works. You have to play in good events. You have to document what you've done, whether that means take video footage, get stats, do something. And then you have to send that information to coaches so that you can be seen and build those relationships. So again, that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother podcast. And I'm going to wrap this one up before it gets too long. But with all that being said, know that I'm here to help. If you are a parent or a player that needs help with anything when it comes to recruiting, whether that's getting your name out there, getting exposure, learning more about how the game works and the recruiting game. If you have questions, if you want my personal opinion on how I feel about certain AAU or club teams or organizations and which ones, are good and which ones you should stay away from, feel free to reach out to me and book a consultation, book a call. And then, of course, if you need help with any type of multimedia stuff, videos, editing, highlights, huddle, any of that type of stuff, reach out to me and I'll be happy to help. Well, with all that being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up this episode. As always, I want to give a warm, heartfelt thanks to all my true fans and followers. Thank you for the positive vibes and energy. And let's just keep these things going and let's continue to build up the basketball community and continue to make this world a better place. Y'all take care. Peace.